Alright, I'm gonna do this real quick without no music in the background while my head's clear. I just got out of prayer. I'm gonna touch on a couple things that was done to me and how it went down. I'm gonna try to do it as quick as possible. What happened to me in that jail on February 24th, 2023, I was put in there. I eventually went into a coma. I was found unresponsive in a coma after torture and humiliation and being taunted and dragged from cell to cell, stripped down, and sexually assaulted, pretty much, I guess I was found unresponsive and I was taken to a hospital, Clark Memorial here. It was Clark Memorial there, it's Norton's now, but it's with Norton's. So here's what they did. I was never booked out of that jail, ever. That time I was never booked out of that jail. And for the booking for you to be charged with something of anything, that booking process has to be complete in the state of Indiana. It's very clear on that law. I was never booked out of that jail, ever. I wasn't booked out. I was there for 13 days is what my mother says. I thought it was 3 or 4 because they had shut the water off to my cell. I had no water in there, and eventually, no telling how many days I laid there in that cell in that filth and whatever. That jail has not changed at all. This is what they do down in that jail. When you come into that jail, if you're sick, mental, or needing help, you're not getting it there. I promise you, you're not. You're not. And they're going to torture you, and they're going to taunt you, and they're going to do all kind of things. And they're going to make a game out of it, because this is what these jailers down there, that's what they do. They'll make a game out of it. I mean, I've sit there and literally watched them make a game out of a girl pulling staples out of her face. And all thing that was happening was a demotion. Nobody has been held accountable, because this is what happened to me. I remember going to that jail. I remember the stuff that was done to me up to a point, I guess, when my ammonia got so high and that I couldn't start. Everything started getting confusing. And I guess at some point I ended up going into the coma. I wake up in the hospital. And I'm looking above me. And of course you think you're dead. You don't know what's going on when you're coming out of a coma. You don't know nothing. And they're pulling leads off of me. They're pulling a tube out of my nose. They're pulling a tube out of my ass. And the stuff's going on. I don't understand what's going on. I'm confused. And all I remember is I'm handcuffed and I'm to a bed and they're pulling these wires off of me and these tubes out of me. And if you're ever having a tube up your nose, it's not very comfortable when they take it out, or your ass for that matter, But so I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. They get me out of bed. They stand me up. These deputies stand me up with the orderly that was there. And I don't remember these deputies' faces. I remember their faces. I don't recall their names. Okay. And they're telling me I'm free to go. Well, in my mind, because I'm confused now, I've just come out of this coma that I was in for 2 days. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm still down in that jail, thinking they're torturing me and taunting me and doing what they're doing, that they had done for the 13 days that my mother said I was there. Well, after they get me dressed, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, I can't even stand up. I mean, they're literally pulling leads off of me and hoses out of my nose as they're dressing me and tell me, you can go. You can go. I'm like a doll. I don't know nothing, and you're just pushing me, and you push me out the door of that hospital, and I run. I'm from Clark County, Indiana. I know the back of Jeff like the back of my hand. I know all Clark County, Indiana like the back of my hand. I was lost in Kitchen Compact for 9 hours till I made it to Doc Seafood. Didn't even know my name. I had a wallet in my pocket. It was my wallet. It had my ID on it. The woman at Doc helped me figure out who I was. And she also figured out that I had a credit card, a debit card, which I didn't know how to use. I couldn't use a cell phone. I couldn't do nothing. I was out of a coma. Nobody is going to have to nobody is reprimanded for nothing. One of these guards gets caught messing with my medication while I'm in the hole. I can't even talk about this guy's name because he's got an EPO against me, a cop, because he's done ran up there to Scott County, done ran over to Floyd County and cried because I found out who he was. I can't talk about this dude, but he got caught by Dakota Johnson. The nurse caught him refusing my medication more than once. Caught him messing with my food more than once. She took it to the higher ups because this is what they do down at the jail. During the day when the brass is there and the higher ups are there, it's kind of okay. But you cross one of them guards, and after that brass leaves, oh, it's in for you that evening. You're going to the hole. Shit's going to happen to you, and they're going to make up a reason why or whatever to put you in that hole. And you're going to spend 30 days, 60 days down there sometimes, which is what they would do to me. That's what they would do to me, because they knew I needed that food that I got from commissary. They knew I needed that, and they would take that from me, and I would get sicker and sicker and sicker, you know. But nobody is going to be held accountable for none of it, because every one of them officers that were involved, they're either on the road now, they went to different agencies, you know, and it's not fair. And people want to tell me, Josh, you need to calm down. No, what I need to do is focus on that jail more and the people that work in it that don't need to be working there, because they're untrained, they're unprofessional, and what they've done is they've had a grudge from when they were kids and they go and work there, okay? And then they take their grudge out that way. That's what they do. That's what Ethan Hooper does. And his half-brother, Thomas Mumford, who is in charge of classification, because let me tell you what, when you're in charge of classifications, you're pretty much running that jail. You control movement, and they like controlling that movement because they can make things happen. And this is where the suggestive role playing comes in, because they'll set stuff up. They'll put people in certain parts of the jail. They'll set people in certain parts of the jail to make stuff happen, and they'll make bets out of it. They'll use these people like pawns in a game. That's what they do. They'll use them like pawns, and they'll sit there and you'll hear them doing it. You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous, you know. And this was my whole beef with Scotty. You know, he didn't want to investigate nothing. And when I go to ask for the video, Miss Morgan says no, you can't have it. You know, her lawyer's saying, no, you can't have it. You got to do this. And when I go to ask who took me to the hospital, no, I can't have that either. Nobody's going to tell me who took me to the hospital, how I got to the hospital, nothing. I can't know none of this. I'm not allowed to know none of this, right? But here I go. The one guy who dry humped me down in that jail, which I'm not even going to say his name right yet, but because that's coming up. The guy who dry humped me in that jail while they had me pinned on the ground, and Nutter and all of them was standing there. Nutter, Free J, I know that for a fact. Like Kelly was there. They were all standing in that cell. And that was at the point when I came to myself and I'm like, Josh, if you don't get the fuck up, excuse me, Lord, but if you don't get up, they're going to kill you. And I did. I started fighting back. And when they get me on the ground, Mark's on the back of me with his beard, whispering about transgender stuff in my ear and dry humping me. Right? But this is okay. This is okay for them to do that. I don't understand, you know? And here's all I wanted. I want it fixed. I didn't ask for no money. I didn't ask for nothing. I want the jail fixed. But no, it's not fixed. So what I do, I practice my first one, because now they got me on probation. And I've been on it for 4 years, which is plenty enough for what I did, because I did nothing. Had to do with my ex-wife. I never put my hands on my ex-wife, and she'll tell you that and everything. So, it's bull crap over a fucking misdemeanor. Excuse me, Lord. Gotta stay calm, because this don't help. But it don't help when the same stuff is still going on in that jail and nobody's doing nothing about it. Why aren't these judges going down there and seeing what's going on? I know they go through the booking. I know where they come in the door at. Why ain't they walking through that jail and seeing how these people are living? You don't send somebody to jail and like it's the end of their life. There's no programs in that jail at all. None. Only programs offered in that jail, you get your GED and you get 6 months cut. So people like me who have screwed up a little bit in their life, who done got their GED, who done went to college, we don't get no time cut, because we was trying to do the right thing. But because we was doing the right thing at some point in our life, we don't get the benefit from that. But Joe Blow, who just beat the crap out of his wife and strangled her with a cord, does 3 months, you know. And well, what? He strangled his girl with a cord. I was in there for texting my ex-wife. For texting my ex-wife and telling her I was sorry for being a piece of shit husband and laying on the couch while her mother died. I wasn't there for my wife. She hates me for it, and she has every right to do it. But I never hurt my wife, ever. But there's people in there strangling their wives with cords and shit, and they're getting out in a month, 2 months. Why? Money. Money's why. Just like that commissary goes on down in that jail. You know, I spent that 8 months in that jail, and I did vape while I'm in that jail because it's offered there. They also offer these cans of Scopes. T. Best knows all about this, don't you, Mr. Best? You know, that they take them cigarette pouches and they roll them up in Bible paper, because they'd always come to my cell and they, hey, Josh, let me get, nah, not happening. You ain't getting my Bible. Not happening at all, man. You know, so they allow them to smoke in that jail because it keeps them calm. It keeps the conflict, so they think, because they've never been over to Floyd County, which I've been there one time over the guard that I'm not allowed to say his name. It's ridiculous, man. They got a gag order on me. So here's what I did when I signed up for probation. Screw that they took my Second Amendment, right? But apparently I don't have my First Amendment no more either. So when you sign up for probation, you need to think about this very clearly. When you're signing that, you need to ask them, do I lose my First Amendment rights? Because I did. I just went to jail over making an AI video. An AI video. Because Scotty knew I was on probation still. And he knew that would violate my probation. He knew the harassment charge wasn't going to stick, because it ain't going to stick. But it don't matter if you're charged, that automatically violates you. Automatic. It's not right. But what goes down in that jail is I'm telling you, I talk to police every day. They are involved in my life. I see them, they wave at me, I get out of the car, I talk with them. They hate that jail. They hate that they have to take people to that jail. There's no sense that jail should be ran like that, and it has been ran like that for so many years, and nobody's done nothing about it. And Becker come in there and put a little addition on it, whatever he did, whatever. You need to bulldoze the whole courthouse and the whole jail and rebuild another one right beside it or something, or build one and then take that one out of commission because it's been there long enough. It's outdated. But no, what are we doing? We're building a damn data center out here that is not going to benefit a resident of Clark County, not one. Well, I'm going to tell you how it's going to benefit us. Our property taxes are going to go up because guess what? The data center don't have to pay property taxes for 35 years. Guess what else is going up? Our light bills. That's what's going up. Guess what else is going up? Our water bills. Yeah. And then here they are sitting, taking up all that land, destroyed all that land, by the way, in the process, and don't have to pay property taxes. A multi-billionaire company, multi-billion, set up shop here in Clark County and does not have to pay property taxes for like 35 years. What? Huh? What about him, me, what? How come we don't get, what? Oh, because we didn't bring 800 million. And here's what I want to know. Where's that 800 million going? Where's it going? But anyway, we're back to that jail. Mumford and Hooper, they're evil little, they're the ones, him, Herb and all of them was on it. Herb I kind of forgive because Herb kind of came to me and I kind of apologized in a sick, kind of tormented way. But I kind of forgive Herb because Herb was there when all this crap went down too. And I bet he was there too when I was found unresponsible in a coma. I don't know that because they won't give me the report. So there's no paperwork. So if somebody just falls to a coma, goes into a coma and they take them to the hospital, there's no paperwork. What do you mean there's no paperwork? What? Oh, this is how Jamie got away with it for so many times when he would take them and dump them over at U of L in the emergency room. All right, not in the emergency room. He would dump them outside of the emergency room. And everybody in this county knows it. And why ain't nobody doing it? Because Jamie's already in jail. Did you not think Skeeter knew anything about it? Skeeter knew all about it. Skeeter was in charge of that jail when they tried to do it to me. To erase the liability that falls back on that sheriff's office. That's why they brought in an outside company to do the medical now. That's why we don't have nurses that are employed by Clark County no more here in that jail. That's why Southern Health Partners out of Tennessee is here to take the rap when people fall sick. And this is why you're not going to hear about it, because what they'll do is they'll say that it's pre-existing. They were sick. So it's not going to write up the way, it's going to write up to where they're not liable. Because they write the storyline, people. Do you not see what's going on? They get to write the storyline and make the rules up as they go. And nobody's doing nothing about it, you know, until me. And I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing about it until they send me to prison. Because here, again, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I don't break the law, man. I work and I do everything I can to survive, you know. And not to mention I'm still sick. It makes sense to me. I was too loud. It was the best possible exit was to get rid of me, push me out of the hospital, and hopefully I went on a death walk and I wouldn't make it. But I made it after 19 hours walking around. I made it. Finally, I made it. And there's another thing I want to put out here so it's on the table. I made contact that day, with Jeffersonville Police Department. And this is very important, Shannon E. Grant, if you're watching this. I made contact with, after I left Doc Seafood about 10, 12 hours after pushed out of the hospital, I stopped and I used my card to buy some tennis shoes because it was February and I had no shoes. I stopped at a pawn shop, which I was able to use my card because they ran it as credit. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, I made contact with JPD because I went to White Castle's there on 10th Street. It said safe place. That's what it said outside. Safe place. So I'm gonna go here. By this time, I've done figured out my name, and I know that I have a brother. That's all I know. I go to this safe place at White Castle's, and I'm asking people for help. And I know I'm talking out of my head, but I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. So of course, after about an hour or so, me sitting there, you know, and the police show up, and Jeffersonville Police Department guys show up, and they're like, they're not trespassing you. They just don't want you here the rest of the night. So you need to go down the road to Circle K. I didn't know where Circle K was. They pointed me in a direction. But before they did that, they took my ID and everything, right? Ran my ID. I just got out of the hospital that I was not booked out of jail from. I was not booked out of jail, so I'd like to know how that conversation went down. I'd like to talk to them 2 officers, because that wouldn't be that hard to find, because I got the exact date on my arm when that all happened, you know. But I would like to talk to them 2 officers, because the one officer said, "Well, what's your brother's name?" And I told him my brother's name. He said, "Well, I'm gonna call him." And then I'm confused. I'm thinking, oh, you know, oh, you're gonna call my brother? Okay. See, I couldn't get a hold of him. And I think about this now. How you got my brother's phone number? Nah, you don't. I ain't got his phone number. How you gonna have his phone number? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Because all them guards that were in on that stuff and still are going down there and still are doing that in the jail. And the main one, let me tell you what, is Ethan Hooper. Ethan Hooper. Who also was there 5 feet from a man when he died because he refused to get up off his ass and get off his phone. This happened. A man with no legs died. There were people in the cell when it happened. This is crazy. Why Skeeter's out here campaigning, because he don't go to that jail. I don't even know if he goes to that office anymore. You know what I mean? And all these people out there endorsing Scotty, y'all crazy, man. Do you all not see what the evil this man's done and what he tied in with Jamie? And for you to say that he's not that him and Jamie, that he didn't know nothing about it. Yeah, right, man. Come on. The right hand always knows what the left hand's doing. The left hand always knows what the right hand's doing. It's common sense, man. Come on. Sell that to some Girl Scouts when you go to buy some cookies. I don't know, but that's just not flying, man. No way, Scotty. And for people to still back you, you know what that says about me, about them? That they're bad people too. That's what it says. So all these people that are endorsing you, yeah, I feel like I gotta go pee too. I hope they got signs up, you know what I mean?